This is In the Know, Unredacted, your fast, no-spin rundown of the biggest political stories of the day. Tonight we're digging into the FBI's nearly $1 million Epstein redaction project, Megyn Kelly cheering on torture, Kristi Noem pushing a ban them all immigration crackdown, Trump's late-night spiral online, the White House using Sabrina Carpenter's music over ICE raids, Laura Loomer's new desk at the Pentagon, and the growing war crime questions around Pete Hegseth. Let's get into it. Let's start with the Epstein documents, because that price tag you've seen floating around, it's real. A new batch of internal FBI files, released only because Bloomberg reporter Jason Leopold sued, shows that Kash Patel and Pam Bondi ordered what they called the Epstein Transparency Project of 2025, and transparency is doing a lot of the work in that title. According to the FBI's own paperwork, they mobilized 934 agents for a single week, March 17th to March 22nd, not to investigate Epstein, not to chase new leads, but to process and redact documents. That week alone, those agents logged 14,278 overtime hours, costing taxpayers $851,344 in 1 week. Almost $1 million. And again, not on prosecution, not on digging deeper, just on blacking out material before the public ever saw it. Here's the kicker. Those same documents don't say what was redacted. They don't say who ordered which names removed. They don't say whose interests were protected. All we know is that at the exact same time, the rumor mill was on fire about big political names, including Trump, potentially appearing in those records. There is zero hard proof that his name or any specific name was scrubbed, but there is proof that the FBI ran a tightly controlled, high-speed, resource-draining redaction operation involving almost 1,000 agents with more phases planned. So no, the viral claim that they spent $1 million training people to erase Trump's name isn't confirmed, but the claim that nearly $1 million went into redacting Epstein files, that part is rock solid. The FBI's own log backs it up. From government secrecy to something even darker, public calls for cruelty. On her show, Megyn Kelly wasn't just defending the controversial Caribbean boat strikes linked to Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, she was furious that the alleged traffickers died too quickly. Her words, she said she'd like to see them suffer, and to make it last a long time, to see them lose a limb and bleed out. That wasn't a slip. That wasn't out of context. That was a deliberate argument that human beings, even if they're criminals, should be tortured before they die. Here's the context. Reporters say Hegseth allegedly gave a verbal order to kill everyone on a suspected drug boat. A follow-up strike reportedly hit survivors who were no longer able to fight. Military lawyers and analysts across the spectrum are saying the same thing. If that's true, it's illegal under U.S. law, illegal under international law, and illegal under the Pentagon's own rules of war. That's not toughness. That's the textbook definition of a potential war crime. Instead of dealing with that, Kelly waved off the criticism as manufactured, annoying, and just meant to embarrass the administration. Then she doubled down and said she wants these suspects to suffer, lose limbs, bleed out slowly, and that she struggles to feel any sympathy. But no one is asking for sympathy. The question is simple. Do we follow the law or not? Do we accept our military cannot execute defenseless survivors floating in the water? You can support aggressive enforcement. You can support going after traffickers. But cheering for slow, agonizing deaths, cheering for torture on camera, that's not law and order. It's cruelty dressed up as patriotism. And once we normalize that, once we say pain is the point and suffering is the goal, the line doesn't stay at them forever. Eventually that mindset shifts and anyone can become the target. Staying on immigration, things get more extreme when you look at Kristi Noem's latest move. After the deadly shooting of a National Guard member in Washington, D.C. carried out by an Afghan national, Noem didn't call for a targeted investigation or focused security policy. She went online and called for a sweeping new U.S. travel ban, not on a handful of countries, but on every damn country she thinks is sending killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. Her words, she said she'd just met with Trump and recommended banning people from every country she blames for crime and entitlement. No list, no criteria, no explanation of how that would work, just a promise that DHS will announce the list soon. This is coming right after Trump promised to permanently pause migration from all third world countries, and right after the State Department halted visas for all Afghan passport holders. The suspected gunman in last week's shooting was one of tens of thousands of Afghans resettled in 2021 during the Biden-era withdrawal and was granted asylum this year under the Trump administration. That nuance is gone in Noem's rhetoric. Instead, it's one horrific crime being used to justify a massive sweeping ban on entire populations. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt went on Fox News and backed her up, bragging that Trump already banned 19 countries and is ready to expand that list. But here's what they're not saying on TV. Trump's June travel ban, targeting 19 regions across Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, is already tied up in multiple lawsuits from civil rights and immigration groups. So this new ban everyone we don't want policy, it is almost guaranteed to slam into the same constitutional, humanitarian, and legal wall. Yet Noem isn't backing down. Trump isn't backing down. And DHS is reportedly preparing a new list. The real question isn't whether they'll try it. The question is, how far does this go, and who gets swept up in this mess? Let's talk about Donald Trump's latest online spiral, because even for him, this one raised alarms. Between 7 p.m. and midnight, he went on a posting spree so frantic it looked like we were watching a real-time unraveling. More than 160 posts in under 5 hours. Some of them double posted immediately, like his own website couldn't keep up with the rage. At one point, he was posting more than once a minute. This wasn't policy, it was not strategy, it was raw, unfiltered grievance. He blasted out MAGA propaganda clips from Fox News, videos from Benny Johnson and Scott Jennings, and yes, Alex Jones. He amplified a clip claiming Michelle Obama used Biden's auto pen to pardon people. He rage cycled through his usual list of enemies: Gavin Newsom, Ilhan Omar, Nancy Pelosi, James Comey, Adam Schiff, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, like he was scrolling through a mental burn book, live in front of the country. Then it got darker. He labeled a group of Democratic senators as the Seditious Six and said their actions were punishable by death. A sitting president casually fantasizing about the death penalty for political opponents in between propaganda clips. He reshared the Thanksgiving clip where he called a female reporter stupid for fact-checking him about the Afghan suspect in the DC shooting. He demanded Colorado free Tina Peters now, referring to the GOP clerk convicted over voting machine data. He even boosted a clip of himself in Home Alone 2 with the caption, "Make Christmas Great Again." This wasn't a communications strategy. It was a real-time window into someone obsessed with revenge, feeding on conspiracy influencers and seemingly unable to stop himself. And from the White House, silence. No explanation, no walkback, no sign that anyone around him is willing or able to pull the plug when he's spiraling. Meanwhile, on the culture war front, the White House managed to drag Sabrina Carpenter into immigration enforcement. In a social media video promoting immigration crackdowns, the administration used Sabrina's hit Juno over a montage of ICE arrests. Over footage of real people being detained, the audio plays, "Have you ever tried this one?" The same line tied to her now viral tour moment where she jokingly demonstrates new positions on stage. So the official message becomes ICE raids, detention, deportation, but framed with a TikTok core sex joke track. Critics across the spectrum called it out as sarcastic, tone-deaf, and completely unhinged for something this serious. Fans, political commentators, everyone, cringe, parody level, widely unprofessional. One user summed it up: immigration policy is now being explained with TikTok sex jokes. The timeline is cooked. Another said the comms team needs a timeout. Sabrina has commented and said that she's absolutely disgusted with the post by the White House. Aside from her, Olivia Rodrigo has pushed back, Zach Bryan pushed back, and even Pokemon had to step in after its content was used. The bigger question is, why does the federal government keep slapping pop songs and meme audio over footage of arrests and deportations? Who is this for? Who thinks this makes people trust the policy, respect the process, or feel like this is serious governance? It looks less like a strategy and more like a government chasing TikTok trends while people's lives are being decided in the background. While the administration is playing with meme audio, the Pentagon is going full influencer mode too, by giving Laura Loomer a desk. Far-right conspiracy theorist and Trump loyalist Laura Loomer now has a credential and a literal workstation inside the Pentagon. She proudly posted a photo saying her desk once belonged to Washington Post reporter Dan Lamothe. Within hours, reporters from Redstone and Fearless Media also claimed they were sitting at Lamothe's old desk, except all three photos showed completely different desks in completely different rooms. Even Lamothe jumped in, joking that he's apparently collected more desks than he can count. One Pentagon reporter cut through it perfectly. These people can't even accurately report what chair they're sitting in. California Governor Gavin Newsom piled on with a meme comparing Loomer to a toddler playing pretend with blocks, captioned, "I'm a real journalist now." This isn't just some weird office sitcom moment. It's happening because nearly every mainstream outlet, AP, Reuters, Washington Post, and more, walked out of the Pentagon briefing room in October rather than submit to Trump's new press rules limiting coverage to pre-approved information only. So who's left inside? Far-right influencers, Trump loyalists, and self-branded truth warriors whose first day on the job turned into a desk cosplay scandal. At the same time, the Pentagon is under intense scrutiny over something much more serious, the alleged kill everyone order during a September 2nd strike on a suspected drug boat, the same incident legal experts say could amount to a war crime. Instead of transparency, we get Laura Loomer posting desk selfies while the public tries to figure out whether the Defense Department followed the law in a deadly operation. Welcome to the new Pentagon press reality. The furniture is confusing, the reporters are political operatives, and the stakes outside the room are literally life and death. And just when you think it can't get more damning for the Pentagon, a resurfaced video of Pete Hegseth makes the boat strike story even worse. In a speech to more than 800 top U.S. military leaders at Quantico, Hegseth bragged about getting rid of what he called stupid rules of engagement. His exact line, "We fight to win. We don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We unite the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country." He talked about maximum lethality and giving broad authority for war. Now put that next to the reporting that just weeks earlier he allegedly gave a verbal order to kill everyone on that narco-trafficking boat, and that a follow-up strike targeted survivors who could no longer fight. Legal experts aren't sugarcoating this anymore. Former military lawyer Todd Huntley said it plainly: an order for no survivors is an order to show no quarter, and that is a war crime under international law. So you have Hegseth publicly glorifying maximum lethality and tearing up stupid rules of engagement, while investigators now look into whether he crossed the line from aggressive warfighting into outright illegality. And the question everyone should be asking is this: if this is how he talks on stage in front of hundreds of top officers, what is he saying behind closed doors when no cameras are rolling? That's today's rundown on In the Know Redacted. If this helped cut through the noise, make sure you follow, subscribe, and turn on alerts so you don't miss the next briefing.